One morning, Will Quack Quack was fast asleep and dreaming about a bowl of snails. Martha, his mother, came to wake him.
Oh, you clumsy Quack. Get dressed at once and be quick about it. Then come and have your breakfast. Oh, tut, 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 tut.
Will dressed quickly and went down to the kitchen. He swallowed his wasp porridge before anyone could say, Llan fi hangel yng Nghornway.
Oh, finished, Mum. And now, Will, I want you to go down to Mr. Pugh the shop's shop to fetch a dozen dried snails and a bottle of green caterpillar sauce. Here you are. There's a purse with a £1 note inside. Oh, and you can keep a penny for yourself. Thanks, Mum.
And off he went like lightning. As he came to Ivan's place, he met his friends.
Hey, Will, where do you think you're going?
Yes, where?
To the shop. Hey, there's a penny in it for me.
Oh, great, a penny, said Dick Penmoyle.
Thanks, Gobble Gobble,
said Ivan. Then Johnny said,
Don't worry, Will. We've got pennies too, let's all go.
So off they went.
Morning, children,
smiled Mr. Pugh.
A pennyworth of the yellow sweets on the top shelf, please, Gobble Gobble,
said Ivan. Mr. Pugh hated climbing ladders, but business is business, so off he went. Then he weighed a pennyworth of sweets and gave them to Ivan. After putting the bottle back on the shelf, Mr. Pugh asked,
Who's next?
Me, said Hugh Herrick.
Can I have a pennyworth of the yellow sweets too, please?
Mr. Pugh stared at him, but didn't say a word and fetched the bottle and gave Hugh a pennyworth too. Then before climbing the ladder again, he asked,
Does anyone else want a pennyworth of the yellow sweets?
No one said a word, so slowly and painfully he put the bottle away once again.
Who's next?
Mr. Pugh, I only want a halfpenny worth of yellow sweets. Mr. Pugh went white, then pink, then red, and climbed up the ladder once again. But then Will realised that he really wanted snail toffee.
Excuse me,
I don't want the yellow ones. Please, can I... But before he could finish, there came a strange noise from Mr. Pugh.
Wait till I get hold of you. I'll give you a halfpennyworth.
Everyone had disappeared by the time Mr. Pugh had struggled to his feet. Of course, Will's man gave him a row, but he'd had a share of sweets from Hugh, and that was better than nothing, wasn't it? Quack. Good night. One morning, Will Quack Quack woke up with a feeling that today was going to be a very special day. He thought for a moment, and then jumped up. Way! Hooray! Today was his birthday. He hurried into his clothes and went downstairs. He'd hoped there would be a present, a bike like Shawnee's with drop handlebars. But there was no sign of anyone. Only a note that said, Dear little Quack, gone to town to do some shopping. Mam and Dad. Oh, Quack. It was clear that they had all forgotten his birthday. He was so disappointed that he couldn't touch his wasp porridge. 2 teardrops rolled down his beak, and he licked them without thinking. Then there came a thump on the back door.
Yoo-hoo! Hello, Will!
Hello, boys. Mum and Dad have gone to town.
I know,
said Dick Penmore.
I saw them, and your dad said he was going to buy a... Ow! Ow! To buy a bow wow?
Asked Will in surprise. Hey, Will, said Hugh Herrick, trying to attract Will's attention whilst the others passed a birthday cake behind their backs. Don't you want your porridge, no?
Well,
Will began, but before he could say more, Hugh gulped it down. At the same time, Ivan hid the cake in the wash tub and put the lid on.
How about coming over to my place this afternoon about 3:30?
Fine, they all said. And away they went. As Will watched them go, he remembered that Hugh had eaten his porridge and that he was starving. So he went out to look for snails. Before long, he found 2 fat ones in a muddy puddle. At last it was 3 o'clock and Will set off for Shawnee's place. But when he arrived, his mother said,
Shawnee's just gone to Dick's place.
"Oh, thank you," said Will, and set off immediately, without seeing the smile on her face. But when he reached Dick's place, what did he see but a note with Will on it saying, "Tired of waiting for you, come to Hugh's place."
Quack!
Oh, when he reached Hugh's place, there was another note that said, "Gone to Will's house." And Will started off home again, feeling a very tired little duck. At last he reached home, quite exhausted, but there was no sign of anyone. He leaned backwards and fell head over heels into the kitchen.
Happy birthday, Will!
And when he looked up, everybody was there, and he realised they'd all played a trick on him. They all had presents for him, even a new bag from his dad and Mam.
Bike, great snails, quack!
And then it was time for the tea party, with a spider cake covered with snail cream. When he went to bed that night, Will was quite sure it had been the best birthday he'd ever had, after all.
Ooh, quack!
One morning, Will was awoken by his father's voice.
Hi there, Will. Come from there, do you hear? You'll be late.
Quack, all right, Dad.
Answered Will, sleepily turning over. But the next minute he opened one eye. Late? Late for what, he thought.
Quack! School! I'll be late for school and I'll have a row. Quack!
He dashed into his clothes and hurried downstairs as fast as he could.
Oh, here you are, Will,
Said Martha.
Quack! Do you know what time it is? 9:15.
9:45, quack! I'll be late for school.
Hey, what about your breakfast?
Said Martha. But too late. Will had hot-footed out of the door.
Yes, I must have with my feet. Brunshachan, Will, look at my floor. There's water and flowers everywhere.
Then Martha and Humphrey looked at each other and burst out laughing.
Oh, 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 late for school. Oh, 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 without breakfast.
But Will by now was far away and hadn't heard any of this. Before long he had passed where Ivan lived, and Owie Plissman's house, Mr. Peel Shop's shop, and Mary Pickle's cottage. And by then he knew he didn't have very far to go, although he'd lost his breath twice over. Will hated arriving late at school, and when he saw that there was nobody else going to school, he turned pale.
Quack! I must be very late.
And when he saw that the yard was empty, he said,
Quack! I must be terribly late.
and he ran to the gate.
Quack! Great snails! Oh, the gate's locked. Oh, they're only locked on the weekend.
His father must have made a mistake and had woken him early without realising it was Saturday, blow him. But to be quite sure, he decided to call in Mr. Pugh the shop to ask what day it was.
What are you trying to do? Make a fool of me? I know exactly what day it is. Go home and ask your dad if you want to know anything.
Quack! And away he went like lightning. Now, who happened to be passing the shop at the time but Owie Policeman?
Oh, oh, what's the meaning of this?
Quack! I'm sorry, Mr. Owie Policeman. I didn't see you. Please, can you tell me, is it Saturday today?
You, of all people, should know what today is, shouldn't you?
Oh, Quack! Saturday, is it?
Saturday? Why do you want to know?
Because school is closed, but Dad didn't remember.
Oh, look, lad, go home. And say well done to your father for me.
Well, you know, Will was more confused than ever now. But when he came to the kitchen, there was no one there, only a note. All it said was that Will was to look in the calendar. And when he looked, he gave a big quack as Umfra and Martha came in from the parlour.
What? Back from school already, Will?
Quack! I'm an April Fool, aren't I?
Oh, yes, indeed, oh, Will.
And Will had to laugh too. That night, to make up for playing an April Fool joke on him, Humfra gave Will a huge portion of worm cake in bed. Ooh, quack! One morning, Will Quack Quack was making a fishing rod with a cotton reel and a bent nail. His mother called to him.
Hi, little Quack, come here, will you?
Quack! All right, Ma'am,
Said Will, and he hid the rod under the bed. Martha had told him never to go near the mill pond ever since the time the boys had got soaked there playing leapfrog. And if she were to see the fishing rod, she'd be sure to have hysterics.
Oh, little Quack,
Said Martha.
I want you to go on an errand to Mary Pickle's house at once.
Will's face fell.
Quack! Do I have to?
He asked.
I promised to meet the boys.
Oh, tut, said Martha. You'll have plenty of time after doing the errand, and you shall have something nice to eat afterwards.
Will cheered up on hearing this, and after she'd given him the message, he rushed out of the house. Now, who happened to be coming to meet him on the way but all his friends? And they all had a fishing rod and a net each.
Gobble, Will.
Said Ivan.
Where's your rod?
Quack! Under the bed.
I got to go on an errand to the village, but I won't be long. You go on and I'll come after you. And Will hurried off to the village, running past Mr. Pugh the shop, turning the corner by Owie Policeman's house, then full speed to Mary Pickle's cottage.
Quack! Mary Mary Pickles, Mum wants you to come to tea this afternoon. And she's going to make a snail cake if you'll come. Will you come?
Well, yes, of course I'll come, thank you very much. Come in and have a piece of...
But Will had already gone, almost running into a wee policeman.
What?
Gasped Owie. But by the time he recovered, Will was disappearing into the distance. When he arrived home, Martha was carrying the big wash tub out to the back.
Oh, Ma'am, Mary Pickles says thank you and she's coming this afternoon.
Well done, Will.
Oh, there's a piece of worm cake on the table for you being a good boy.
Oh, Quack! Thanks, Mum.
And he hurried upstairs to fetch the fishing rod. But how could he get out of the house without his mother knowing? As he was wondering what to do, a voice called,
Will, come on. Are you coming with us or not, eh?
Quack, yes!
And before anyone could say another word, he took hold of the fishing rod and jumped out through the window.
Hey, stop!
Shouted Shawnee, but it was too late. Into the wash tub he plunged.
Wow!
And then he shut his mouth lest more soap should go down his throat. When Martha saw Will, she almost had a fit.
Oh, Will, tut, you naughty little Quack. What are you doing there?
And she called his father to come at once to wash him under the pump.
Rasmus David,
Said Humfra when he saw Will covered in soap, and he pumped and pumped until Will was even wetter than before. Then Martha took him into the kitchen, dried him, gave him a soup spoonful of soft soap, lamp oil and black soot, and sent him to bed for the rest of the day lest he should catch cold. Poor Will. He didn't go fishing that morning after all. Quack. One morning, when Will was sleeping late as usual, he was awoken by the voices of his friends.
Gobble, gobble, Will. You aren't still in bed?
Called Ivan.
Get up, lazy bones.
Called Hugh Herc.
I will go without you.
Go? Where?
To play football in the big field.
Answered Johnny.
Football? Yes,
Answered Dick Penmoy.
I brought a ball with me.
Quack, I'll be with you in a minute.
Will put on the new jumper he'd had the previous Saturday from his mother and rushed downstairs.
Hello, little Quack. Come and have your porridge.
Quack, Mum. I haven't time. The boys are waiting.
Oh, no. Eat your wasp porridge now or it's back to bed with you.
Quack, all right.
Will lifted the bowl to his mouth.
Please, can I go now, please? Thank you, Ta.
All right. But don't wet your feet, nor tear your new jumper, nor climb to...
But Will had run out of the door.
Oh, Brenshaw! Oh, tut.
He didn't take long to catch his friends up, and they started to play, one in goal and the others taking their turn to shoot, after they'd all taken off a waistcoat or jumper and put them down to make the goalposts. After a while, they decided to play 2 against 2, Shonny and Will against Dick and Ivan, and Hugh was referee. It was fun, especially when Will ran the ball between Ivan's thin legs. Suddenly they heard an awful, terrible, frightening, fearful noise.
Great snails! A ball!
Shouted Shonny.
Oh, help! Come.
Quack! Quack! What shall we do?
Cried Dick. Will shouted, "Run for the hedge, everybody!" And that's what they did, and jumped into the middle of the bramble bushes, all except Will. He was walking towards the bull, carrying the ball in his hands. The bull stopped, amazed to see Will doing such a daft thing. Then it bellowed, put its head forward and charged.
Ta-da, pal!
Cried Shawnee.
Oh, ta-ta, dear Will.
Cried Dick Penmoyle and the others, and then,
Wow! Hooray!
and well done, Will! As they saw Will bounce the ball in the bull's face and run low between its legs. Then he leapt straight into the prickly bramble hedge, leaving the bull looking totally surprised.
Oh, good on you, Will, gobble, gobble,
Said Ivan. Then,
oh,
as he saw the bull trampling the clothes and the ball stuck like a bubble on one of its horns. A tear came to Dick's eye when he saw the ball, but they all promised to help towards buying another one for him. Of course, Will had to allow Martha to pull the thorns out, but she didn't give him a row for ruining his jumper, nor for going into the bramble bushes when she heard how he had saved his friends by being a very brave little Quack. And he had a plateful of worm cake in bed that night as a reward. Quack. One morning when Will was sleeping late as usual, Humphrey came into his room.
hi, little Will, wake up, my lad.
Oh, Quack. Oh, what?
Will, come down to the kitchen to help me. Your mother is feeling ill and she's staying in bed this morning.
Ew.
Well, yes, she has a heavy cold.
Will dressed, and as he went downstairs, he heard a loud
Achoo!
from his mother's room. Things went well at first. It was easy enough to cut the bread and put on the fly jam. They soon ate the lot, and Will was delighted because his father, Humphrey, allowed him to put twice as much jam on his bread as his mother did. Things went fairly well when they washed the dishes, too. He only broke one saucer and 2 cups when he heard a mighty choo coming downstairs. But then it was time for Humphrey to go out to the farm, leaving Will in charge of the kitchen on his own. Will looked around and decided to do what his mother usually did. First he brushed the floor. Then he went out to the garden to gather snails for lunch and put them in a bowl on the sink. Then he decided to do the washing. But it was tiring, boring work. And he was very glad when he heard voices calling from the yard.
Oh, hello, boys.
Hello, Will. What you doing?
Asked Shawnee.
Helping Mum. She's ill in bed.
Gobble, gobble, Will.
Said Eva.
Why don't we all help you?
Quack, yes.
They all said.
Well, thanks.
And in a jiffy, they'd all rolled up their sleeves and were rubbing like mad in the middle of the soapsuds. Well, of course, I hardly need to tell you what was bound to happen sooner or later. As Hugh Herc grasped the soap, it slipped and flew across the tub, straight into Will's mouth.
Great snails, Will. You swallowed the soap. It's not a laughing matter. No, of course not,
Answered Dick.
What can we do?
Shawnee told Will to open his mouth, and then he thumped Will on the back, but only more suds came out. Then Ivan had an idea. The lads grasped Will and lifted him up and held him upside down over the tub and shook him until his sides churned.
Out with it, Will! 1, 2, 3, out!
Will spat the soap out with a
Hooray!
But unfortunately, who came through the door at that moment but Martha, who had dressed hastily on hearing all the palaver.
Hey, you cruel boys! What are you doing to our Will? Let him go at once!
And of course that's exactly what they did. And Will plunged into the tub with a mighty splash. Well, there was such a commotion then.
Humphrey, come here at once!
And all the lads were marched out by Humphrey and made to stand in a row and wait their turn to go under the pump. But later, when Martha realised that they'd only been trying to help Will, she forgave them everything and called them into the house to have something warm to drink and a large piece each of fly cake with snail cream over it. And you know what? In the middle of the excitement, Martha's cold had completely gone. Wasn't that good news? And when Will went to sleep that night, there was a big smile on his face as he remembered all his friends soaked to the skin under the pump. Quack! One morning, Will was dreaming that Owie Policeman and Mr. Pugh the shop were chasing after him.
Quack! Oh, don't hit me! Oh, don't hit me! Quack!
Hit you, little Quack?
Said his mother.
You're dreaming again.
Dreaming! Quack! Oh, only dreaming.
Will got dressed quickly. It was such a nice day, he would go to see his friends on his new bike. Down he went to the kitchen, half flying, half running as usual, to have his breakfast. He swallowed the wasp porridge, snatched up his cap and bolted for the door. A bag of white flour fell like a cloud over Humphrey's head.
Rasmus, David!
Will fetched his bike from the shed quickly and off he went like the wind. He soon reached Shawnee's house. Who was coming out of the house but all the lads? And as it happened, Shawnee had brought his bike out too. Ivan said,
Hey, Gobble Gobble, what about having a race between you and Shawnee?
Oh, yes, a race.
Well, all right,
said Will.
OK.
Said Shawnee.
First to the school and back, ready, go, yeah?
Said Hugh. Everyone saw that Will's legs could pedal faster than Shawnee's, but Shawnee's legs were stronger, so the two were equal. And indeed, one was on the other's tail all the way down to the village, and that's when the trouble started. First of all, who happened to be coming out of his house with his bike but Owie Policeman?
Hey, look out!
Owie Policeman saw them coming straight for him, threw the bike one way and jumped over the gate. Now, who happened to be coming out of his shop carrying a box of tomatoes but Mr. Pugh the shop? Will went past on one side and Shawnee flew past on the other. Mr. Pugh the shop went head over heels over the tomato box.
Wait till I get hold of you.
But Will and Shawnee had turned the corner and were pedalling as fast as they could towards the school. Then they turned and began to pedal back. As they turned the corner, they saw Mr. Pugh slowly getting up out of the mess.
There they are! Stop them!
But in his struggle to catch them, he slipped on a tomato. Then they heard the sound of a whistle, and there was Owie Policeman getting onto his bike.
Heavens, Will! Pedal for your life!
Away they went like two streaks of lightning. They passed the lads, then down the hill towards Will's home, and all the time Owie Policeman was getting nearer behind them.
Prison we'll have,
Said Shawnee.
Quack, yes!
Answered Will. Then as they reached the farmyard, the two swerved round the big puddle, but Owie Policeman didn't notice it. The next second, Will and Shawnee heard a strange crashing sound. Owie Policeman had landed up to his ears in the mud. Humfra had to help Owie Policeman to wash himself clean by pumping water over him. And he was brought to the house to have a bowl of hot snail soup so as not to catch cold. Will and Shawnee had a row from Owie Policeman for dangerous driving, and they had to promise never to do it again. Will was sent to bed that night without supper, but he couldn't help laughing quietly as he remembered Owie Policeman being washed under the pump.
Quack!
One morning, Will was very late getting up. He hurried into his clothes and raced down to the kitchen because he'd remembered that he'd arranged to meet his friends. He gulped down his wasp porridge.
I finished, ma'am.
What did you say, Will?
Ma'am.
Great snails. You're hiccuping, Will?
Hiccuping?
Well, yes, hiccuping. I've told you 100 times that you shouldn't gulp your porridge. That's what comes from being a greedy little quack.
Oh, what'll happen?
It's sure to pass before long, my boy. Here, take this piece of bread to chew, but eat it slowly, remember? And it should stop the hiccups.
Thanks, ma'am. Ta-da for now.
As he dashed through the door, a big ladle fell off its hook.
Hurrah, David!
Will got so frightened that he swallowed the piece of bread in one gulp, which made the hiccups worse. As he hurried towards the village, he gave a little jump now and then with each hiccup.
Oh, dear. This nasty hiccup. What'll I do? Oh.
But the hiccuping didn't stop all the way to the village. When Owie Policeman heard, he fell out of his hammock in the garden. When Mr. Pugh heard, he fell off his ladder and landed in a large lump of butter.
Oh, help! Ow! Wait till I get hold of you!
When Will reached the schoolyard, his friends roared with laughter.
Oh, boys, don't laugh. What can I do to stop the hiccups?
Hold your head in the buckets of water, yeah?
Suggested Hugh.
Don't breathe for 2 hours, gobble, gobble.
Said Ivan with a wink.
Say llan mae'r pwll gwyngyll go ger a chwyrndro bwll antisilio go.
Laughed Shawnee. The next second, Mr. Pugh the shop came down the street waving a huge brush.
Will, I'll give you a...
Will ran round the yard shouting,
Quack! What'll I do?
but then
Oh.
a long howl came from the schoolhouse. The ugliest dog you ever saw leapt towards them with its mouth watering.
Help!
Shouted Mr. Pugh the shop, who thought that the dog was going to have him for his dinner. Everyone managed to escape over the wall only inches away from the big dog's jaws, but there was a large portion of Mr. Pugh the shop's trousers between the dog's teeth,
Gobble, gobble, who'd have thought the schoolmaster would have kept such a beast?
said Ivan.
Oh, yes, indeed. Who'd have thought, yeah?
Said Hugh Herc.
Well, I'm glad, Quack. Well, why'd you say that?
Asked Dick Penmoyle.
because I got rid of my hiccups thanks to that dog.
They all laughed as they saw Mr. Pugh the shop going home, trying to hide the hole in his trousers. When Will told the story to Martha, she gave him a piece of spider cake, but he took care to eat it slowly, just in case. When Will went to bed that night, the bed bounced now and again, not because of hiccups, but because Will was bouncing with laughter as he remembered Mr. Pugh's trousers. Good night, Quack. One morning, Will was dreaming of a large bowl of snails, and coming towards him, the biggest snail you ever saw, Will's tongue stuck to the roof of his mouth in fear. Snail came nearer and nearer with its mouth open until a cold sweat broke out on Will's brow. It stretched its horns around Will's neck and shouted,
Well, eating snails, is it?
Quack! I won't eat snails again, I promise. Quack!
Eating snails? What's the matter, little Will?
He knew that voice, the voice of Martha, his mother.
Dreaming again, my boy?
Quack! Oh, yes, ma'am.
And he gave her a big kiss. She blushed.
Oh, Toots, go on with you. Your breakfast is ready and your friends are waiting for you.
In a jiffy, Will was out of bed and changing his clothes and half flying, half running downstairs to the kitchen.
Hey, little Quack, eat your breakfast.
Will swallowed his wasp porridge and hurried out.
Thanks, ma'am. Burrida. Morning, Dad.
Here? What?
Oh, Rasmus Dafydd. Oh, you wait, you naughty little Quack.
When Will glanced back through the window and saw his father all covered with pepper, he decided it was time to disappear quickly.
Hello, lads. Follow me to the woods.
When they'd gone far enough, Dick Penmoyle said,
Stop, Will. I'm peeved.
and Hugh Herrick said,
Hey, Will, what was that strange noise from your house?
Oh, that was Dad sneezing because I knocked the pepper pots all over him.
Oh, gobble, gobble, Will.
laughed Ivan.
Pepper. Oh, Will. You'll get to hiding and go to bed without supper.
Quack, do you think so, lads?
Yes, of course,
said Shonny and winked at Ivan.
indubitably, gobble, gobble.
Said Ivan.
Wow. What's that terrible sound?
Well, what sound?
A sound like sneezing, gobble, gobble, coming nearer and nearer.
Great snails, it's my dad. Hide me, Quack.
Hurry, let's jump on him.
Shouted Shonny, and in a twinkling they all leapt on Will and sat on him until he was out of sight. And then they all heard a real as Shonny's tail tickled Will's nose. When Will saw the others laughing, he realised that they'd tricked him again, and he began to laugh too. But oh dear, the laughter didn't last long, because when Will sneezed, he'd thrown Shonny against a nest of bees, who came out angrily and made a beeline for Will and the others. They all howled as they fled down the path with the bees after them. They went down into the yard and dived into Martha's wash tub full of soapy water. When Martha saw the commotion, she had to shut the door quickly, and all she and Humfra could do was to look through the window. At last the bees grew tired and flew back to the woods, and then Martha and Humfra came out to the yard. But there was such a miserable look on the 5 boys that Humfra simply couldn't give Will a row. But they all had to stand under the pump and be washed clean. Then Martha gave them a dose of lamp oil, soot and black ink. And when Will went to bed that night, he swore that he'd look carefully next time before slamming the door. Go whack. One morning, when Will was sleeping as usual, Martha, his mother, hurried into the bedroom.
Will, wake up.
Quack, Mum. I'm tired.
That's what comes of going to bed late. Will, I'm going to be very busy today, and I want you to go on an errand to Mr. Pugh the shop.
Oh, Quack, must I?
Well, yes. If you do this for me, I'll give you something to eat.
What?
Pancakes?
Quack! Pancakes? Snail cream pancakes?
Yes, Will.
In a jiff, Will got up, dressed, rushed downstairs and ate his breakfast like a good boy and fetched his cap and the shopping bag.
Now then, Will, I want a bottle of snail cream, a tin of dried worms, and a packet of wasp porridge. Can you remember that?
Yes, a bottle of snail cream, dried worms, and wasp porridge.
Then he grabbed the shopping bag and the money and dashed out. The alarm clock fell on Humfra's head. He was warming his tail at the time.
Rasmus, David, how time flies. Will, don't slam the door,
said Humfra, but Will had gone out of sight. Will went to Mr. Pugh the shop's shop.
What do you want?
But when he saw that Will was shopping for his mother and that he wouldn't need to climb the ladder, he was all smiles and gave him a piece of yellow toffee for being a good customer. When Will arrived home, she prepared the pancake mixture with the bottle of snail cream. But as it was too soon to make the pancakes, Martha went to have a lie down. Then Will's friends arrived.
What are you doing, Will?
Said Hugh.
Guarding the pancake mixture, of course,
Said Will.
Can we see?
Lovely smell, gobble gobble.
Terrific.
Said Dick.
I love pancakes,
Said Shonny.
I'm just dying for one.
So am I.
Then Shonny said,
There's a lot of mixture here. I'm sure your mother could spare just one spoonful.
Will hadn't the heart to say no, so Shonny put a spoonful into the frying pan. What a lovely smell. Smashing. Then it was time to toss the pancake. But Will tossed too hard and it landed upon Dick's bare head. But the nearest thing to water was the pancake mixture, and Dick gave a huge jump and landed head first in it. What a mess. Everybody covered in mixture and sliding in pools of cold cream. When Martha came down, she almost had a fit. But of course, before long, all five were out in the yard under the pump with Humfra saying,
Rasmus, David, you naughty boys.
and they had to run round the yard until they were dry, and then swallow a spoonful of Martha's medicine. And Will went to bed that night without any pancakes and without supper.
Quack.
morning when Martha, his mother, came to wake Will, he'd already started to dress.
Goodness me, up already? It's a good little Quack. Come down and have your breakfast, chick.
All right, Ma'am.
A bowlful of cold wasp porridge was waiting for him. Will gulped it all down and licked the bowl clean before anyone could say, Llanfair mathafar neithaf.
Oh, finish, Ma'am.
Very good, Will. Now then, your father and I have to go shopping to the village. We want you to stay here to keep an eye on things, and we'll be back by dinner time. Right?
All right.
Will answered. Will saw them to the farmyard gate and waved at them until they disappeared. Then he rushed back to the house. But when he ran into the kitchen, he slammed the door so hard behind him that the old china dog fell off the mantelpiece and smashed into smithereens. Will turned quite white. He knew that his mother thought the world of the old china dog.
Oh, Quack, great snails. Oh, what'll I do?
The next second there came a knock at the back door. It was his friends, of course.
Are you coming out to play, Will?
Asked Shawnee.
Quack, no,
Answered Will.
come in. I'm looking after the farm while Mum and Dad are in the village, and oh, look what I did when I slammed the door just now.
Ooh, Will,
Said Hugh.
you'll catch it for breaking the china dog, yeah? Well, why don't you hide the pieces then?
Asked Shawnee.
Well, no, Mum would be sure to miss it and start asking questions.
It's clear to me, Gobble Gobble.
Said Ivan.
It's clear to me that the thing to do is to put the china dog together again with glue.
Oh, yes, of course, said Shawnee, and he soon had everything organised.
Where's your mother's wash tub?
In a jiffy, the wash tub was in the centre of the floor. When they'd filled the tub with water, Shawnee started to put some of the flour into it and began to stir.
Is the glue ready?
Asked Will.
Well, I think it needs more flour.
Shawnee said wisely. And they poured the rest of the flour into the tub, and Shawnee stirred again until his arm was tired out.
It's ready now, I think,
said Shawnee. Then Dick shouted,
Hey, Will, your mother and father are coming.
Will was scared. He could see the china dog still in pieces.
Oh, what'll I do? Oh, Quack, I'll have a terrible row.
Wailed Will, and he began to jump and run around the place like a madman. And that's when he stepped on a spot where some of the glue had slopped over the edge of the tub.
Oh, help! Oh.
Will shouted, and he slid straight over the edge of the tub and fell into the glue, splashing it over everybody. And the next moment, Martha opened the door and stared in surprise. She told Humphrey to put them under the pump while she cleared up the mess in the kitchen, and Humphrey pumped and pumped.
Blue heavens, a rassamussadam.
Then they all had to dry in front of the fire and take a spoonful of medicine to stop a cold. And when Martha saw the china dog in pieces, she gave Will another dose of the medicine and sent him to bed early. A long time was to pass before Will was allowed to look after the house all on his own again. Good night. Quack. One morning when Martha went upstairs, Will was sitting up in bed.
Quack. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning, Will. And what are you doing?
Counting my pocket money, Ma'am. I want to buy the whip on top in Mr. Pugh the shop's window. I only need another threepence.
Will got up, dressed and hurried downstairs. Of course, there was a bowl of wasp porridge waiting for him, and by the time he'd finished it, she said,
Well, little Quack, if you want to earn some money, I've got a couple of jobs that need doing.
Quack. What, Mum?
Well, Will, first of all, I want you to clean the windows. Here's a bucket and cloth for you. I'll give you the money at the end.
Clean the windows. Hooray!
cried Will. He dashed out to the back and slammed the door behind him, so that Humfra's false teeth fell off the mantelpiece and bit his ear as he was combing his hair in the mirror.
Oh!
Snorted Humfra. First, Will cleaned the downstairs windows, holding the cloth in his beak and flying backwards and forwards. Then he flew higher and cleaned the upstairs windows. Martha was very pleased.
Oh, excellent indeed, little Quack.
Is there anything else to do, Mum?
Well, yes, there is, Will, a little job. Go to the garden and gather a bowl full of snails for supper, will you?
So Will hot-footed out to the garden and began to fill a big bowl with snails of every sort. Brown ones, white ones, speckled ones, until the bowl was full.
Very good, little Quack,
Cried Martha.
Here, you deserve your money.
And she gave him threepence.
Hooray! I've got enough now. Thanks, Mum. Ta-ra!
But what about it?
Too late. Will was disappearing in the distance. When he reached Mr. Pugh the shop's shop, there was no sign of the whip and top in the window. Mr. Pugh shook his head.
Very sorry, but I've just sold the last ones this morning.
And when Will came out to the street and saw all his friends, each one with a whip and top, and when he remembered how he'd worked so hard all morning to earn money, 2 tears rolled down his nose, and he licked them without thinking.
Don't cry, Will.
Said Hugh Herrick.
You can have a go with mine.
And mine, they all said. But it wasn't the same. So after saying,
Thanks for the offering,
Will went home sadly. But when he got there, his father Humfra said,
And where have you been? Huh? In the shop, wasting your money and playing with those naughty friends of yours, I suppose.
Oh, no, indeed.
Is it true you cleaned the windows and collected snails without telling me?
Quack. Yes, Dad.
All right, take that.
Will closed his eyes, thinking he was about to be thumped. Then he heard laughter.
Look what I've bought for you today for helping your mum.
In front of him were the whip and top from Mr. Pugh the shop's shop.
Way! Thanks, Dad.
Cried Will. And the next minute he was playing whip and top like nobody's business. When Will went to bed that night, he dreamed that he was the best whip and top player of them all. Good night.
Quack.